OK, hello， 大家好，今天是一期特别节目，邀请了一下2020年 Vancouver Best Comedian， 2020年温哥华最佳单口喜剧演员 Mark， 但是呢 ，bad news is 他要离开温哥华了，搬到多伦多去。这个原因很蹊跷，我们今天就跟他聊一聊，他为什么要选择离开温哥华。I was just saying, you just want the best comedian of Vancouver, but you want to decide to leave Vancouver forever, no volunteer, and go to Toronto. So let's talk about why.
Why? Because I find that it's better for the transgendered community out there. No, I'm a comedian. Look, censorship. How do you say censorship in Mandarin? Standard operating procedure. Normal every day. No, it's the same word for communication. 审查. Okay, so who's watching this? People in China?
Some of them are.
CCP, number one. Yeah, I love communism. It's so good.
Good job.
Right.
Why are you moving to Toronto?
Because Vancouver's gay.
You don't respect gay?
Well, it depends what kind of gay. Like, dick sucking gay, that's fine. I don't mind that. It's okay. Vancouver is basically full of brainwashing and propaganda.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's.
I thought it's a thing of China.
Yeah. Well, Vancouver wants to be China. China's influence is very. You can see their presence. It's very strong here. I don't know if you've ever noticed that before or not. Yeah, and Vancouver, the way the comedy is here. I mean, it's all of Canada, really. It's all of the world now. Anything involved with entertainment is basically propaganda now. But Vancouver, it's small. Because it's small, just a small amount of people will produce and run everything, which means you're at the mercy of them. Because Vancouver's small, it also encourages peer pressure. So that small group of people who run everything can influence other people to accept or reject people.
Mm-hmm. Which is cancel culture?
Which is basically cancel culture, is a small group of people dictating who can work or operate or live even, and who can't. So cancel culture is often thought of as a celebrity or a person who's famous losing everything because of some an error or a mistake or even lies. It's not even often not even true, or it's a misrepresentation. How cancel culture manifests in day-to-day life is like Vancouver comedy, where 3 people decide they don't like you. The rest of the people go along with it because they don't want to get their stage time taken away. And then you silently disappear. You just can't do comedy. It becomes so difficult to do it discourages people from continuing. Keep in mind, this has nothing to do with the audience. Mm-hmm. The audience could love people. It doesn't matter because it's not really based on... Okay, capitalism is based on what's the best product, what makes the most money, what do people enjoy the most.
What makes the best profit?
The word that you don't have to cut out again is like, let's say we're the leaders. It's what we like. We don't care about the customer. It's what we like. And we try and tell the customer what they like or what they're allowed to have or what not. And that's how entertainment's run in Canada.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In Vancouver.
Canada as a whole, but Vancouver is one of the worst examples of it.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Our media is run by the government here, similar to some other countries. And that's the model for the rest of the entertainment industry. So the problem with that is the customer isn't the audience. The customer isn't the person who watches TV. The customer is the government. Our taxes pay the government no matter what. So even if we go, I don't like that show, they go, well, your taxes pay for it, and we tax you whether you like it or not. So that becomes the standard for how all entertainment's run in Canada. Right? So then it teaches people to be like, it doesn't matter if you're funny. It matters if we get along off stage and we can gossip about people and say, did you hear what they said? And then it doesn't matter how hard you work, just like in other places, other political systems. It doesn't matter how hard you work, you can't get a raise. It has to do with favoritism from the party. Connection, power, relationship. I could be a bad employee, but if you like me, it doesn't matter. Right? Yeah, you've seen that in other places, right? Yeah. Right? It's like this, it's beginning to be like this in the United States too, by the way. This type of ideology is becoming popular in the West.
I sort of feel this.
The biggest difference between the way it's done in the West these days and how it's done in like Czechoslovakia is Czechoslovakia used, I think it was religion. So if you're religious, they cancel you, right? Here it's racism, homophobia, transphobia, these kinds of things, right? And in the West, we don't want to be racist.
Yeah, I know.
We don't want to be homophobic.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you use these tactics against me to say you're a racist, I go, oh, I don't want to be racist. Canadians tend to defer to authority. Do you know what that means?
Mm-hmm. Like, submissive.
Yeah, submit to authority, and people who sound smart
Sound smart.
sound
but
like
in reality,
they're not.
we don't know.
They're brainwashed even worse than the rest, right? Above all of it, it's not about left or right. Someone who knows who uses this stuff so they stay at the top. And some people say it's not even a government that does it, it's even above the government. It's big corporations, it's rich people. They use politicians and politics.
The really privileged people.
The truly privileged. Who don't give a shit about black or trans or conservative or not. They don't care. And it's not, again, let's say, use a racist joke as an example. They don't care if it's racist or not. They want people thinking a certain way, and sometimes these jokes don't serve
their
also, they use the media and journalism to do it. And comedy, unfortunately, is a part of entertainment, which is a part of media, right?
Yes.
And they don't want comedy that is funny. Comedy doesn't need to be political, and it doesn't need to speak the truth, I don't believe. But in comedy, in a joke, one of the reasons it's usually funny is there's underneath it, there's truth in it. So I can say something sexual or deviant or even racist or whatever, but usually people laugh because there's an element of truth to it. This ideology wants that truth gone. In their ideology, it's not good for what they want. It's also easier if I'm unhappy and I don't have an outlet to be happy, like comedy. It's easier for me to get mad at you and then keep us kind of at odds. Because if you go to a comedy show, if anyone's ever been to a comedy show, like me, I'll make a joke about black people. Black people usually laugh at it. And so do the white people, and so do the Chinese, if they understand the word they say. But everyone laughs. They don't want that. They want the black people mad at the white people, and the white people mad at the
They want conflictions between people.
Yeah.
It's like past the confliction of people towards the power to people against people. Then they will feel easier to control, and they feel secure to have their power because people are not challenging them, but challenging each other.
Also, the authorities can come and be the good savior when it comes time, or the punishing if they need to.
Yeah, then they become the justice, and the only justice. Whatever they say is the truth, is the only truth.
So what it tends to be in the West rather than the East is like celebrities tend to be the authority. These kinds of things, right? Certain politicians. Some politicians we hate. Donald Trump. I don't. I think he's great. Some politicians we're supposed to love, Biden, and all, even though he's worse than Trump, right? Or they'll use like Kamala Harris, black woman. Oh, can't criticize her now. See how it works?
I always want to say people who like Kamala Harris only because of her identity, her race, her gender, are the real racist and sexist because they are judging the world based on race, based on color, based on gender. They don't really know people. They don't care as long as the color is right, is political correct. They assume these people is
because you're black and because you're a woman, that must mean you're ethical. And and the other thing is that's kind of disturbing about this is, let's say I didn't say what Kamala Harris's gender or sex and skin color were, and I said some of the stuff she's done.
Exactly.
They would go, oh. Then you tell them it's Kamala Harris, and they go, well, that was in the past. She's learning now. It doesn't matter, right? Yeah. Same with Biden. That's what they do with Biden, too. And I don't even want to talk about American politics too much, because in Canada, we fucking talk about American politics more than our own. It's one of our problems. Well, it keeps us distracted from our own problems, right?
Exactly.
Look at what Trudeau can do, because we're always focused on Biden and Trump and stuff, right? Anyway, but the point is, I'm just using Biden as an example, is like, he's no different than he was 10 years ago. And now Biden can do no wrong, even though he's already doing things. He's going back on promises and stuff already. He's going back on things that he said he was going to do. And well, as long as it's not Trump.
Yeah, and people are not allowed to judge him because he represents the right.
The solution to the problem, because the problem was Trump, right? And the propaganda is, the media is so powerful. Like, you and I probably we talk about this stuff and we watch YouTube channels that talk about this stuff, but the average person, they don't. They just watch whatever's on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
And the newspaper, boom, boom, boom,
yeah,
boom.
the
boom.
mainstream media,
Yeah,
whatever mainstream media tells them, they believe it.
And they believe it so much that even when you present, like, no, did you see this? They go,
They
nah, or I don't care.
They refuse to see different views. They refuse to hear different voices. They're trying to brainwash themselves because once they are challenged, they feel their identity is challenged. It's part of themselves are challenged. So they try to escape from that. They try to live in a bubble, live in an unrealistic world they imagine.
Yes, and one of the things is back to comedy, is comedy can help challenge that. Challenge the brainwashing and thoughts, because it can
Inspire people.
It's not quite that powerful, but it can get you thinking for a second. And again, I'm not saying as a comedian I'm important and you need me to change the society. That's bullshit too. It doesn't. Society changes slowly with a bunch of. It has to come from a bunch of different angles. It's not just comedians, right? But comedy, even if it doesn't necessarily change people's minds about things, it gets them not thinking about it for a minute. Or let's just say Kamala Harris. We use her as an example, right? She's black and she's a woman. You're not allowed to make fun of black people or women. Or you're not allowed to say anything bad about black people or women. In comedy, it used to be, it still is, I still believe it is, people understand you're allowed to make fun of black people and women.
As long as it's not malicious.
Right, and it usually, most jokes that are funny are not malicious.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nowadays...
They say it is. It doesn't matter. Even if everyone laughs, the propagandists say it. So
I think the major problem is they don't really know the world. They don't really see the world in an objective way. Their world is based on what they like to believe, what they like to see.
Yeah.
And these people are called social justice warriors, right? Thank you so much for taking this interview. I look forward to performing with you again.
Okay, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Black Lives Matter.
See you. Bye-bye.